Wilderness Wildlife Week. We're glad that you're here today. If you would take a moment, please, to turn off your cell phones and or silence them so they don't interrupt. If you have any questions while you're at our events, there's an information desk just outside the door here that you can ask those questions of. There are sponsors in your program booklet. Be sure and take note of them because their donations continue to make this a free event for the rest of us. If you're interested in seeing these submissions to our photo contest, they're on 4 monitors down by the pool area of the hotel, off the hotel lobby. I'm here to introduce today Rhonda Goins and Gail Stout. They are with they're with Bays Mountain, and they're going to discuss the wolves of Bays Mountain, the lives and behaviors of wild and captive gray wolves.
Hi guys, how you doing? Hey. I'm talking to I'm so glad it's little because I can talk right here and I don't have to walk back and forth, but she hates. So I'm Rhonda Goins, Ranger Ron, or Wolf Lady. That's what I'm known for in Kingsport. This is Gail Stout. She's my I don't know, nemesis or right arm, whatever. She's my sister, and she's been with me since I began at Bays Mountain Park, which is 1998. I started there as a intern, summer intern. So then I've worked my way up through part-time naturalist and full-time naturalist. So now I'm the head of the wolves, and I love wolves. So I'm going to talk about wolves and their lives and the wolves' lives here, and in general, because they're the same, but they're completely different, but they're the same. So right now we're experiencing breeding behavior and flirting and all that stuff going on at home, and I'm getting reports all the time and little Peyton Place stuff going on because the alphas don't love each other. The alphas pick another wolf, and that causes all kinds of fighting. So yeah, if they would mind, the books, what they say, they would be a lot better off, but they never read and they never pay attention. So I've got something new this year. This is a pelt. You can hold it up if you want to, or walk around. This is a pelt from Texas. This keeper of a wolf in Texas. This wolf probably died at 10 or 11 years old. It was the alpha. You can see how big they are. You don't know how big they are until you can pet it. And they're kind of rough. Well, see, when the wolf died in Texas and she was the keeper, they had it tanned for her a gift. So, and she was from Kingsport, and she has this wolf pelt, and she died about 5 years ago, and she wanted her brother to present it to me, and it's an amazing. So he keeps on teaching after he's long gone. So a lot of kids cannot believe how big he is, and I think he died in the winter mode because he's got a lot of underfur. So wolves have all kinds of fur. They have 2 types of fur: over fur, under fur. So and me and John I was a human and he was a wolf per se, and it was pouring down snow, I would be wet. He would be dry because the snow just lays right on top of his guard hairs, which can be 8 inches long. So that's why dogs shake, because they shake all the rain and snow off, and then they're dry underneath because that cotton-like fur is called, like Under Armour is what I explain to kids. It keeps you warm on the inside, don't let the outside cold get to you. So wolves have 2 different types of fur. And he has big old feet, and that was tanned very nice, professionally. He has his claws with him. He's amazing. I don't know his name, and they never told me his name. I guess I can research and get his name, but I don't know his name. But we can make up a name, but he's amazing wolf. He's probably 120 pounds in his life because he looks like a pretty good stocky wolf. And this is comparison. Yeah, I'm gonna do the skulls while you do that. This is probably his size of skull compared to a German Shepherd skull. This is not a trick. This is how they exactly are. This is his business end. There you go. And this is a German Shepherd. They're not as powerful. So this is a huge head. They have huge head and huge feet. Huge feet. That's what makes the wolf run fast and be able to catch an elk, bison, and deer. And this guy, they can catch people. So he can run probably about 25, 30 miles an hour, 35 to 40 miles an hour. German Shepherd right here. This is just a little red fox. My red fox program is tomorrow. See how little right there. So they have carnassials as rear teeth because they're cutting. They're all cutting teeth. That's a big old mouth, and he can exert pressure of about 20 Volkswagens. So 1 Volkswagen per inch. It's like 1,500 pounds per square inch. So put 20 Volkswagens in his mouth, and that's how much he can exert. So if you're running and trying to catch an elk or a bison or even a deer, you have to be powerful and make your first bite count, because that's what brings an animal down. So we need these guys, and we don't have these guys anymore in the southeast. We had gray wolves, we had red wolves, but now that's why the coyotes population is way up here and the deer population is way up here, because we don't have a natural born killer to weed these out. So I'm going to get started when Gillian gets back up there. And it's a pretty long program because it's telling the story from 1992 till now. And it sometimes, it's going to show you all kinds of cute pictures and all this stuff. But it's also going to tell you what we do to get them socialized. You can't tame a wild animal. It's, they're still in their wild brain. You can't do that. So we only feed the wolves when they're hungry, which is like maybe up to twice a week, maybe once a week, but we feed them like 150 pounds at a time, what they would kill in the wild. And they distribute that, their self. We don't feed this wolf here and this wolf here and this wolf here. It causes all kinds of arguments and say, well, he got a bigger piece than this, and how kids are. Well, that's how wolves are. They want to eat together and sometimes in order. So this is Kiva. He's one of our 2003 pack, and he's just like, he's just like regal, beautiful. He's passed. This is a Kiva means ceremonial circle. That's just a pretty picture that I thought that you want to see first. And then the next one is kind of like this wolf right here. It probably is about the same size. This is Niahi. Male's about 120 pounds, give or take, and females are around 90 pounds. And he's a perfect specimen of a wolf that's about 6.5 feet long. And this is kind of the replica of him. He's our alpha for probably about 8 years. Our original wolf was very large, Navarro. He was very large, and so when he took over at 2.5 years old, Niahi was 6 months old, and he was trying to take over alphaship from this big 120-pound wolf, 2.5 years old. We knew something was wrong. You don't pick on your boss unless something's wrong. So he was picking on his boss, and turned out Navarro had a heart defect. So this is an average pack size in East Tennessee, so, right around in here in our beautiful southern Appalachians. 8 to 15, and the puppies disperse, or others disperse when they get older. So this is Dakota, the black gray one, and you can tell her alphaship because she carries her tail like, what are you doing? And she's all in herself. And then the other alpha is up in the corner. He's eating. He's busy eating. It's very, very, very hard to get a picture of all the wolves together. And this was just sent to me a couple of days ago. So this was last week during the snow, and they love snow. They're built for it. The coat range color can be all by the black all the way to white, and all colors in between, even in the same pack, even in the same litter. So we can have black puppies. You can have red, you can have reddish, and you can have kind of white, and you can have yellow. Our alpha male is yellow. He's kind of a yellowish golden blonde color. Their front feet are exceptionally large, just about as big as my hand, and they have really long legs, not powerful like, they're not built like a bulldog. They're built for speed. And their feet, are webbed, so they can aid in their running and their digging and their swimming. And you can tell what big eyes you have now. They have big eyes. Huh?
Oh, you say that? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, might as well. They can see in 180 degrees vision, while predators can see that, but prey items can see more because their eyes are on the side of their head. So they can see back behind them who is sneaking up behind them. Wolves and predators don't need to see what's sneaking up behind them because nobody's going to be chasing them. They're going to be chasing. So they're going to be able to zero in on that deer. And that deer is going to be wanting to see all the other things. That's how the vision works, like an owl is going to see. But if he wants to see way back, that's how an owl sees. He don't have any, he can't do the all eyeball thing. He has to turn his head. That's why he has more vertebrae in his neck, so he can turn his head all the way around, so he's going to watch out. Mom, what big ears you have. Look, all this hair's in his ears. That picks up all the sound waves. And so he can hear a lot better. They can hear 10 miles away in the west because it's flat. There's nothing to inhabit. You know, the mountains that we have here bounce off, so it's about 5 miles. Oh, look at them teeth. This is a puppy. We give medicine, you know, that must taste yucky. So sometimes it's me and Gail and Sonia. This is Sonia. She's a helper of the bunch, and she's not afraid of those jaws. But you know that could inhibit a lot of danger. Well, one of the wolves got my leg pung and pulled a artery in two. So I hope that's not going to happen all the time. Is it?
Apparently.
Yeah. Do you wanna go say something?
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, because that's just,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know, I don't have to do that. I mean, everybody can hear me.
Yeah.
Because, okay, 42 teeth, his canines. 1 inch long, he can have a 1 inch long canine. And, well, this was giving medicine, it's giving worm medicine, and they hate it, it's bad. And I was wondering why they wouldn't take it. You would think wolves would do anything. Well, yeah, that's so distracting. Okay, my what big nose you have. This is Janoon.
He's on the way to fix it.
Okay, okay. They can smell about
I'll wait
100,000.
for him next door. They're gonna do something over there.
Okay. They can smell about 100,000 times better than we can. If I'm a wolf, I can smell prey item just about 2 miles away. I can smell a bloody knee, whatever, a dead squirrel in the road, dead something in the road. They can smell 2 miles away. So that helps them out because they can smell that way. They can smell that far. They can hear that far. You're not going to sneak up on a wolf. I don't care what you do. I've tried because the wolves got out before and we had to track them down. So that's Janoon, and she's the only wolf that we've ever had that's had light yellow eyes. And before she died, she was. It don't matter if I would have had speaker on them. I don't know. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. They walk at speeds of 4 miles an hour. That's just normally walking, but they can reach speeds of 40 miles an hour when needed. Yeah. They can cover 60 miles in one night. And that's pretty cool. I mean, see, when they escaped, and most of them come back to the park within a day or two, Kawani did not. Kawani was the lowest wolf in the pack. And she says, I'm not coming back there to be beat up all the time. But she wanted to come back to her pack, but she didn't. You know what I mean? She did. And then she didn't. Plus, she can travel. She traveled from Kingsport City all the way to Greene County and back. Because people was taking pictures and sending them in, so we know how far she went. But she come back to the park every day because she was drawn to her pack. But she really didn't want to. But she was drawn to her pack. Wolves don't live alone. Even a Dahe, he did not return. We think he was. She was injured. He was injured. So I think he was injured a little bit more than he was. She was. She had a compound fracture, and she run on that thing every single day. They have really long legs and large pads for better traction, and their toes are a little slightly webbed because when they can dig a hole in no time flat. Feet are about 4.5 by 3.5. Only ones larger is Great Danes, St. Bernards, and some bloodhounds. Because if you come up to the park and see beautiful Natar, she's our older senior wolf. She'll be 15 in April. That's very unheard of. But it's not unheard of in a zoo, but it's unheard of in the wild. Her feet are tremendous. She's like, me wearing a size 15 shoe because she's a big old. Her feet is about this big, really big feet. Wolves live in family groups called packs, And when the alpha pair, or some people call them the breeding pair, but they're the alpha pair in different situations, in different zoos where they don't change up their alpha ship and they can't have new wolves come in and out of the pack. So they're called alpha pair. They're also called a breeding pair because that's the ones who breed, whoever's the top who breeds. It's usually lifelong, but sometimes some stuff happens. One gets hurt and then another out wolf will go up above that and make him go down. So it's usually lifelong, kind of like the eagles, but some stuff happens. Subordinate wolves are called betas, and there's many levels of betas. There's a low beta, high beta, and here's a major beta that's right under the alpha. And guess who takes over if something happens to the alpha? The beta, because he knows all this stuff. The lowest member of the pack is called an omega, or the Cinderella wolf. The Cinderella thing, that she pleases everybody, but is picked on. Cinderella. Cubs have their own little hierarchy in their little teeny pack. 3-week-old wolf, 2-week-old wolves have their own bosses in that little thing. And that is very well respected by the adults. They just like leave them alone, just like them kids, just let them fight it out. And that's what they do. The pack of the wolves work together. All the pack of the wolves take care of the puppies. Brothers and sisters, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, whatever. If you don't want to take care of a puppy, it's too bad. Just like she had kids. I'm her sister. I love to take care of babies though. But see, I help take care of her babies. Okay, let me talk about it before we get in there. Okay. This is a Dahe. This is the one that we never recovered when he was 2, when I think he got injured and when the big wolf escape happened in 2009. This is a Dahe at 3 weeks old. He was the howler of the bunch. Sometimes they would just howl and nothing come out of their mouth. They just howl. But this is not his howling, but I have a puppy howling later in the video. This is our pack howling. So I think it's just a cute little picture. His name means lives in the woods. So he is eternally living in the woods. Okay, Gail. Nope. Go back and get him. No. Put that. Thank you. There you go. See how many different wolves you can pick out. That's the length of a normal howling. They don't howl just for howling. They howl for a purpose. They howl because we want them to, or they howl just different things. They have a chorus howl, they have a fun time howl, they have a eating howl, they have mode howls. So that was just a normal howling that probably one of the volunteers or me initiated. If it was 2 wolves or 9 wolves, you can't tell because they don't want you to tell. Because what if a neighboring pack, you know, we're just 2 wolves. So they make themselves seem like a larger pack in case they want to. So they have their own talking, like howls, whimpers, barks, and growls, all kinds of vocalizations. Plus they use their ears and eyes and tail and fur. Barking is usually as a warning. A mother may bark for her pups to sense danger, or they have really aggravated howling or barking. They can show aggression, and they do, or they can roll their lips back and show their teeth, and that's another thing. They don't even have to say anything. They don't have to vocalize anything. Whimpering may use, a lot of people think, you know, when the wolves are, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That soothes the pack, soothes the babies. If their babies are aggravated, that's like a baby talk for us. It's kind of, that's because all summer long, when we bring the puppies in a pen, all the big wolves stand at the fence all day long because they want them, because they're drawn to babies like we are. We're not necessarily drawn to teenagers, but they're drawn to babies because you cannot introduce wolves after the 4th or 5th month because they're like, what are they bringing into this pack? I can teach these guys, but it's going to be hard to teach an older wolf. He might have bad tricks. Growling is used as a warning. A wolf may growl at intruding wolves or predators, or to dominate other wolves in their pack. Howling is one of the forms of communication used by wolves intended for long distance. You can hear that howl. I can go to the fire tower, which is 2 miles away, and I can howl, and they can hear me, but I can barely hear them because my ears are not supersonic. A defensive howl is used to keep the pack together and strangers away. Just to stand their ground. A social howl, just like, I feel good this morning, I'm just going to howl when people start coming into the park, and probably, us that works there, they can hear all that stuff going on, they can smell us, and they howl to greet us. Sometimes, most of the days that happens, so you've got a welcoming party at work before you get there, as you get there. This is body language at its finest. This is on the right, that's Kawoni. She was alpha girl for a little while because we had no other alpha girl. We had no other girl, so she was alpha by elimination. So she did a pretty good job. She her tail position tells what her position is, and sometimes they'll raise their hackles from their ears all the way down to their tails. That means T4. That means I am in mode. And then a dahe. This is the two that was really hard to find. A dahe his tail is really relaxed, and he's standing like, what do you want me to do, Mom? What do you want me to do, Alpha? So that's kind of their language. That's okay. That's beautiful. A dahe is pretty. Lifespan. They live in the wild only 4 to 6 years, maybe 7. That's not very much. They got to grow up. And they can't do anything until they're 2 years old, the female, and boys are 3 before they become sexually active. Usually, we always have exceptions. And then they die at 6 years old. So they better hurry up and do all the stuff they've got to do. But they can live in the wild up to 13 or 14, 15. We're going to have a 15-year-old if she makes it through the winter, which we know she will. 1 out of 4 cubs usually make it past the first year. If you have 4 pups born in the wild, maybe 1 will live. That's harsh, out there. There's all kinds of reasons, but mostly humans, people, other predators in captivities live. The record is 20. We're hoping for the record because we already have the longest living wolf on Bays Mountain. We're hoping for the record, so I don't know. She's 15, so we're hoping for 5 or more years. She's got arthritis, and she had a torn ACL, which she's recovered from, and that was hard for her to do because she was 0 when she done it. She was 10. Causes of death in the cuppy, in the cubs, are starvation because they have to eat, and then when mama gets through nursing, they have to bring food in. Sometimes the baby has to eat every day. Causes of death from other wolves and territorial disputes. Diseases are not common, but if you if you hiking through the woods and you have distemper on your feet and you go in the woods and they can catch it and that wipes out the whole pack because they don't have any shots. Mange, injuries by prey, so anything but 1 out of 4. But we don't lose any wolves at the mountain. Why gray wolves? Why not red? But why not? So I'll tell you all that. And then preparations. It's a 2-acre habitat and divided in 4 pieces so we can kind of shut one off and do work to one, and so they can if we have a sick wolf in surgery, we do it on site so we can get the wolves away from that. And us, we have to clean the ponds, and we don't want 6 or 7 wolves just aggravating us to death. They won't hurt us, but they just have to aggravate. How many? We started with 3. Where'd it come from? Our first 3 come from Wolf Park, Indiana. It's the longest study of wolves in, I know, the United States. And it's amazing if you go up there. You can meet all kinds of wolves there. You can meet the ancestors of our wolves there. And this is Bays Mountain Park. Dave Taylor, he's here today. Dave Taylor used to do this program, and I took it over when he retired. So this is all the volunteers. It was made by all volunteers and Dave and some of the staff members. So it's a 2-acre habitat, and that's pretty big, bigger than most nature centers or zoos. I would like another acre or 2, but I would like it. So yeah. And this is our first wolves. We got them at 6 months old. We didn't have them as babies because we didn't know what we were doing. All the naturalists went up and was taught at Wolf Park how to do this, how to socialize, the socialization process, because if you just take wolves and put them in there, they ain't liking you. They don't like me, they don't like you. So we have to make them not afraid of humans. We don't want them to stress and dig in a hole and live their whole life in a hole. Maybe 5 years of what we would get, and they would be very, very stressful. And we couldn't come up and give them treats or medicine and stuff. So this is Navarro, the biggest wolf I think we've ever owned. I didn't help raise him because I wasn't there at the time. I was in college. So he was a big wolf, and he was just a big baby. That's what I've heard. Just like, all wolves have different personalities. All of them do. He's a big boy. And this is Cashton. Our first three, 2 girls and a boy. He was alpha, of course, and she was alpha. She was a little bit reddish on her back. Beautiful wolf. She was alpha from the time she was born, probably, until she died. She was alpha material. And she was kind of a harsh alpha at times. And I tell people now, you don't know what a harsh alpha is. You think Dakota's harsh now. Dakota is a sweetheart compared to this girl. She was alpha, and she did it all of her life until she died and somebody else took over. Look, and then Janoon, she's just like a goofiest little thing, but she liked to clean the fence. She'd go all the way around, pick out leaves all the time of the fence. And you could get really good pictures, but too close, because she'd go this. You'd sit down between the fences, and then she'd go right face up. So that's why her pictures are right mostly in your face. She had these are black and white. They're not black and white pictures. They're color pictures. Because it was made in the winter. And you can see a beige wolf back there, and you can see a little bit of light yellow in her eyes. Her eyes were really, really light yellow. And everybody called her the white wolf because she went from solid black, you've seen the black, to just about white. Janu. The socialization process, I'm just going to read right through this. It's a long drawn out thing, and it takes years to do, and I just took it over, and then I added or took away some stuff that fit our pack. The puppies are born, and then we take them from their pack about 12 days old, right before their eyes open, because if they see their mama and dad and all this stuff, they kind of not imprint, but they say, I don't like you, you're not what I was born to. So they know they're a wolf, but they go better with people and live better with people if they go to people before their eyes open. So that's what's in it, because wolves' eyes don't open until about 14 days. 12 days they're pulled from the den. 12 to 21 days they're bottle fed, taken care of, their first vets. 24 hours a day solid until we go up there and get them. I go get them. I usually drive anywhere I need to, South Dakota, Indiana, Minnesota, whatever. It's my job, and I like it. 3 to 4 weeks, Cub arrives at Bays Mountain Park, and the socialization begins. We have about 50 to 60 volunteers, because it takes a village, or it takes a whole town to watch these babies, because everybody works, and we have to get our little schedules. 2 hours here, you might sign up for 5 hours, 1 hour, whatever we can fill, because we always have to be with the babies, just like they're babies. Gradually weaning them from formula over the next several weeks to meat. So I study a lot and get their diets down, and their diets change about every 2 to 3 days, so I don't upset their stomach. They're given Nebraska brand, it's horse meat, and then vitamins and milk that we make. And then sometimes it's more meat added, less milk. And then we start giving them calcium for their bones, because mama has calcium. The meat don't have as much calcium, so we give them supplements. Sometimes, it's really pretty cool. I usually I stay there. I never go home. So I redo the formula every about 2 or 3 days, and everybody has to come in. Like, if it's Gail's time to come in, she stays with me. But if John comes in, you have to come into the camper, and that's my office, and read the daily rules, because something might change. One of them might have got sick last night, so you'll have to be watching for that. So that's the rule. Read the rules before you go into in the pen. One might be sick. One might have fever. One might have whatever. Okay. The 5 to 6 weeks, you can leave alone at night, but we usually don't do that early. It's according on It's according on all kinds of things. We stay with them all day till the sun goes down, and then wolves change from week to week to week. When they're puppies, they want to get all over you and snuggle and get in your clothes and all this stuff. And when they get bigger, they want to lay over there, but make sure you're over here. And then when they get bigger, like teenagers, they want to kind of one over there and one over there and one over there. But with lightning cracking, they come right back to you. So you have to be there as a security blanket. Until 25 to 29 pounds is reached, we cannot let them live outside of the little puppy palace, which is shown in a minute. They're secured. So what if a big eagle or large great horned hawk? Great horned owl would kill them. They can kill them and just drag them, and they could eat them. So we have to secure them at night, and then in the daytime they can go out in the bigger pen and then come in at night. And then later, when they're big enough and they know how to hide, and they can leave them outside at night. We just have to make like two or three checks at night to make sure everything's okay. They're not hung up in the fence. They're not hung up in a hole. It's an intense thing, but I'm an intense person. I like to do that. And whoever hangs around me, yeah, they're intense too. 16 weeks, we get them in May, and about middle August they join the pack. And we say bye-bye forever. So we have a big party that night and have a cookout, and everybody goes in and says their last goodbyes. And then in the morning, 8 o'clock, we put the babies in with the big wolves, and they said, I don't even know what to do with these babies. So eating is always a good thing to camaraderie. So we don't feed the puppies that day or the previous day, but we feed the big wolves. That causes what? What does it cause the big wolves to do to the puppies? Regurgitation. So we feed them, that bonds them. So that's really pretty cool. Everything is documented. Every single thing is documented. I can tell you how many times Unali peed, or a Huli peed, or pooped, or gagged, or whatever. Cause notes. I have so many notes. I could write 25 books. One of these days I might. But there's a lot of. This is our first cubs. We bought these cubs from. Yeah, I was going to say what she was the head. She was she was the Rhonda back then, because she.
Sitting here reminiscing.
I know. So yeah, Sue. She was the Rhonda before I come here, and I just took everything over. But she is included in the rest of the puppies except one pack. I think 2003.
It's been 2 since I've been gone.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that was her puppies. That the big large wolf that you've seen, that standing really beautiful. That's this one. And then Askina was the in the middle, right? Askina was the second one, and beautiful Askina. She died right when I came, about 6 months later. We really didn't find out why she died, but because we had a necropsy and all that stuff. But she just, I don't know. We had to remove her from the pack and put Kanadi with her. And it's not healthy for a wolf to live by themselves or alone. Or, because they always want to be back with the pack. Even though she's going to get beat up every day, she wants to be back with the pack because that's how they are. That's how their brain works. So this is Niyehi in his finest. He died of cancer. He had a cancer on his left shoulder area, and it started out as we thought it was an injury, and he was still alpha. He was alpha really till he died. They just kind of come up every morning, and all the pack and just kind of like, what you doing today? And they kind of check on each other. They don't kill them. A lot of people think they kill each other. They don't. They're family. Just kind of like your mama gets old. You don't kill her. You don't put her in the basement, So they just kind of come up every day and checked on him and left him alone. And then me and Ricky stayed. My husband, ex-husband now, but my husband stayed. We stayed that night, and when he died, so he didn't die, So he's amazing. He was the biggest. This is Kanadi, that little puppy that you see. That's Kanadi. He has a lair named after him. That little building that they worked in, and we medicine out of, and we treat out of. So it's an observatory. So Kanadi's lair. He died of a heart attack. All of a sudden, it's kind of like a widowmaker. He was fine, then all of a sudden he's not. So we had necropsies done on our wolves. So that's Kanadi. And this is beautiful Eskina. Look at her eyeliner. She has makeup on. Did you do that? Did you do that, Sue? That's beautiful. That's her puppies that was raised in that little cabin. If you come to the program the other day or walk in the park, that little cabin, that was what they used, and they used the outside, inside, outside, inside. So when I came, I said I think I want to go outside in the wolf part. So that worked out just as well. It's different styles. More cubs in 2003. This was my babies, my first babies. Hote, Waya, Kiva, and Kawani. They come from Rapid City, but backcountry, just like we changed. I don't know if Kenny was over that then, where the wolves come from. So we changed up to Bear Country, and we've got 2 packs from Bear Country, USA, in Rapid City. I think I've been there like 5 times. It's just like amazing. If you ever go there, you drive through the park and see the wolves running around. You see the bears. You see everything, but you're in your car, so you can see everything. It's awesome. I took my grandson there this year, and he said, "Mima, we've got to go back before we go home. We've got to go back and see these wolves." Because he was amazed. Because my grandson raised these wolves at 11 and 12 years old. You might probably see a picture or 2 in there or something. I think we had 22 or 25, because some people say, "Oh, I want to volunteer. I want to volunteer." But you know what? They only want to pet a wolf. They don't want to pick up poop. They don't want to write notes. They want to do the fun things, but you have to do the fun things and the bad things, and you have to clean up puke and poop and everything else. And you have to hold a wolf just like you've seen, with its mouth flying open and stuff. So you have to. We wound up with 22. We probably started with like 40. But we always wind up with like 22, 25 people, you know how volunteer is, that will do the bad and the good. They arrived on June the 8th, and this is their first breakfast. This is a weird thing. They was flown here, and they stopped in Memphis, and they was supposed to go from Memphis to Kingsport. I was getting ready to go. Me and Valerie Wood was getting ready to go and get these guys in Tri-Cities Airport. Well, I had a call saying they're stuck in Memphis. We put them off and luggage on, which is illegal. So I said, I can't drive to Memphis tonight, because they had been without food and water for probably 24 hours, because the flights and the flights. So from South Dakota all the way to Tennessee. So I said, can you put them on a flight to Knoxville? They had one more flight to Knoxville. So we took off driving and met them in Knoxville. And it was amazing. First puppies I've ever seen in my life. They just come right up and say, "Oh, what are you doing?" Except Kiva and Kawani, they were kind of like standoffish wolves, but the 2 little black ones was like, just like a puppy. They love each other. They just loved me, and they loved Valerie. They loved everybody. And this is Kiva, that little teeny puppy that you seen in the last slide. This is Kiva. He just photographs so well, and he looks like a big furry porcupine. And this is Kawani. She's a beautiful, beautiful wolf. Her name means April. I was born in April. So sometimes we sneak names in there, or we want to. What was Nayehi's? Lucky Hunter, or one who? What was Kiva's name? I mean, Nayehi's name. Nayehi's.
You mean as far as what it meant?
Yeah.
It's been a long
I think
time, Rhonda.
Lucky Hunter. I think all of our names mean
Indian.
something. Yeah.
Native, right? Native American.
Yeah, that means something. Except, one, I'm going to show you that. But she's, I don't know what the other one's name, but his name is Hote, and he was a big baby. He was a big old wolf, but he was like a big old German Shepherd that was a puppy about this big. So his name means singer of sacred songs. And Waya means wolf in Cherokee. Waya. And then the 2007 cubs, I was allowed to get them again because some wolves die off, and we need to keep the pack. So we need to keep young and old and puppies. So this is my first pack. I drove to South Dakota because it's never going to happen again that they're not put on a plane. I said, I'm going to go get them. So me and my husband took across the country and got them and stayed 3 or 4 days and got their vet visits and all that stuff and drove back in less than 2 days. So we were in her, and they had to be fed too. So they were born April the 24th at Bear Country. We celebrated Natar's birthday last year, her 14th birthday. So they had 5 puppies, and we had to leave one because I called Ken Childress and I said, can we bring this puppy home? They're going to give it to us. And he said, is it a girl or a boy? And I said, a girl. He said, we don't need so many girls cause so many girls cause so many hospital bills and fights, because girls fight way more than boys. Boys just go and, you know, wrestle and tussle around, but not near as bad as girls. We know we girls are not nice. And they arrived at May 25th at midnight. The smallest puppies to ever arrive at the park, and the youngest was like a little bit over 3 weeks old, because when I went to get them, they were 3 weeks old. And this is Ayana. She was 3.2 pounds, so she was little, and Gail donated the money for her, and she got the naming rights. Sometimes you get naming rights if you come up with names that fit. Her name is Ayana, and it's a Cherokee for what, Gail? Are you sitting? What was her name? Eternal Blossom?
Yeah.
Eternal Blossom. She's always forever flowering. So she's awesome. Look at the blue eyes. You know, all mammals are born with blue eyes, but wolves don't have blue eyes. They have amber eyes or brown. So they have to transition, and that transition happens within the 3rd month, 4th month. By the time they go in with the big guys, they've got amber eyes. Natar is the only one of this pack that's still living. She'll be 15. No, we always knew her with Natar with the scar, because they were identical, and we had little ribbons around their neck. Wool yarn, because wool yarn can break and they can eat it because it's natural. They can just poop it out. Or just Tennessee never ever left his own over 2 days. He'd always take it off and we'd find it. So that's Tennessee, and the reason he's named Tennessee is we have her picture in there. What's her name? She was with you, and she wanted to name Tennessee. And he named himself, because when I got there, he had an orange ribbon around his neck. Oh. So I said, well, that's Tennessee, because he's Tennessee, because Tennessee means Tennessee. Oh, sorry, John. He was going to make a joke, and I yak all the time, so I don't let him have a joke. Adahe was the only one we didn't recover. He was the one that was howling in the front, because he's got on a red little thing, and see his blue eyes. This is the day we went and got him. It's in a secret little place that they whipped us in, and it was they love attention. So I sat down on the floor, and they just plowed you. And that's my ex-husband. That's Ayana. See how little she is. Look at her claws. She's got big old claws, and they're born with teeth sharper than needles. And this is the first vet visit. Can you imagine? I mean, they got big claws and they got big teeth right all the back. Beautiful. And this is how, after a day or two, how we figured out to feed them. You couldn't hardly feed on the go. All of them fix 4 bowls. They don't eat out of 4 bowls. They eat out of 1, 2, 3, 4, and they make a mess, and they don't get anything in their stomach. Probably that much. So in the middle of the night in the motel, I figured I could do this. I'd sit in the bathtub, and maybe she could eat more concentrated if it's 1 bowl. And then on the way home for 2 days, we tried to get them outside. But remember, these guys don't have shots or don't have nothing. So if you put them in a park that's dog park, they might catch parvo or anything. So they have no shots until they're 5 to 6 weeks old. So you have to be really careful where you put them. So me and Ricky would go way in a field somewhere and put them in a kid's corral and let them pee and poop and play a little bit. And then we just fed them in a cooler in the back of the van while he was going like 70 miles an hour down the road. So this is our first night. We was relaxing. We had drove probably, oh gosh. We started at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we drove all day, and we told people there were 4 pups. You don't say wolves until they start howling. They howl. They howl when they're little. They howl when we got there. They howl in the motel room. So we just went down to the office and said, we got 4 little wolf pups, and we've got papers on them, so it's all legal. So this is Gail. Long time ago, we all look young, then. Younger. I was looking a lot younger. This is when we first got home. We always have to have a welcoming crew. And this is the first. We had them homemade puppy palace out of just wire and conduit and chicken wire and everything. So I went to the commission, Base Mountain Park Commission, who's, when you belong to the park that money left over goes to the commission. You say, hey, commission, I need some money. So I designed it, me and Ken Childers designed it. We have a double door here and another double door on the back side for them to go out and explore when they get big enough. So we all stayed in here. You notice no chairs. We sat on stumps. We sat on things that they didn't, they couldn't bother. That's where we all slept. 4 puppies as they growed, and that's where we stayed in place of the rain stuff. So we had a nice setup. We had beds for anybody that stays all night. And I usually stayed all the nights as just like help them out. And then I like the night shifts, like 8 to 12, because that's when they really are exciting, because they come out and that's the wolves' behavior, later in the evening, and then they sleep they sleep in the middle of the night. Then they get up early in the morning and aggravate and play and pull on you and pee on you and all that stuff. So that's my favorite time. And everybody else is going home because they've already done their thing. This is Tennessee, Dirty Nose Tennessee. One of my favorite wolves in the whole world. But they're all my favorites. I can't pick a favorite. And this is Ayana trying to hide. We had to eventually block that off because all wolf puppies do, hide. We don't want them to hide from the public. We just do it really gradually. She had a harder time because it was in a yard of the center of the park and had a small fence. I know she probably said, get away from that fence, get away from that fence, 1,000 million times. I had another fence around me. I didn't have to say all that. I just had to say, shh, just be quiet a minute. You don't want to scare the baby. We wanted them to get used to screaming babies and obnoxious people. And it works. It works. Repetition. Tennessee, I noticed on the way home, all the way across Nebraska and Idaho and all this stuff, he was having trouble peeing. And he would try to pee and nothing would come out. I thought, that's not right. So as soon as he got there, the doctor, Chevelle, said, Rhonda, you need a pee test. I need some urine. I thought, I'm not going to do that. I said, well, I'm a mother. Me and Gail come together and said, well, if you hold a warm wash rag on his parts, he makes him pee. And sure enough, Amy King, and then we followed him around with a bowl, and we got that, and we took it down to Dr. Chevelle's, and sure enough, he had a UTI. And then he had medicine. So it's and if you don't do that aggravation with all the puppies, they'll say, even this age, they'll say, what's wrong with him? Why are they doing this to him? Why are they making him special and we're not getting that special? So we had to do kind of the same thing with the other puppies, so the puppies wouldn't pick on this little baby. So they're so jealous of each other, and that's all the puppies just relaxing. I think it was in Sonia's arms. They're exhausted. They sleep like a baby. You can't do nothing with them. You can't wake them up or anything, and then they're all up in your face. Okay. Oh, that little Ayana. She's so little. She's so cute. So we never helped them. You can't help them because in wild, they have to figure out things by themselves, and they do figure out stuff by themselves really fast. A stump this high, whoever gets on top of that stump is queen for the day or king for the day. And they're the only ones that figured it out first. So, and we don't hold them up to see the puppies or the wolves in the pack. They have to do that themselves, because one of these days, mom and dad, all the wolf parents is not going to be there to help them see everything. So they have to do everything on themselves. Like bees, like if a bee in the nest in the ground, they have to learn, because they're going to live out there for 15 years. We can't take everything away from them and make them not do that. They have to learn bees are bad. Bees are bad. They'll swell your face up. Don't eat bees. So you have to let them go, just like kids. You have to let them bruise their knee. You have to let them fall down a little bit, because if you don't, and then this woman was stopping them, I said, no. We don't do that as volunteers. We have to let them be wolves, and if they need us, they will come and get us, just like kids. And that fills up. That's when they're first little, but we sleep. You can put 2 adults in there and 4 wolf pups, and as when they get bigger, they're like 60 pounds before they go into the neighboring pen. So we can all fit in there, and that's Tennessee, the pole dancer. He was so he loved everybody. He was just such a good wolf. And that's them after they eat. Look at their big old fat bellies. This is Christina. She's one of the best volunteers the park has ever seen. She passed away about a year later after this, and we didn't, it's she's very inquisitive. At one time, Christina got up and turned her head. Guess what? Natar done. Eat the book.
Yeah.
I've got the pages taped together. Yeah, so we knew now we couldn't, because we could put this stuff, and then we graduated to the top of the den, and then we had a basket way up here because they will do anything to get anything. And that's Ayana's corner. Everybody knew not to sit in her corner because that was her safe space. So if a volunteer come in there on purpose and sat in her corner because that means they knew that they would get attention from Ayana, that's not allowed. Come on now. You don't wake up a baby. You don't interfere with their little lives. So you just go in there and sit down and become a stump. If they want to come and greet you and love on you, which they will, then they'll go for 2 seconds and then go over there and play with theirself. Just like a baby, hi mom, they kiss you and hug you, then they go over there. So everybody knows not to sit at Ayana's corner. And this is called mouth sparring. They do that when they're little. They don't really hurt each other, but those teeth are sharp. That's Dahe and Ayana. And see how big they grow? Really fast. They grow from 1 pound at birth till 4 months old, 55 to 65 pounds. That's a lot. And they eat tremendously. They do eat a lot. So that's Gail. They try to all get on your lap at once. They think they're this big anymore, but they're not, but they don't care. They just all try to pile on. And they run you out of the house because they want that house. That's Aspen. We had to use Aspen because of people's allergies. Hay don't work because my husband's deathly allergic to hay, and he helps me out with the wolves, and stuff. So we went to Aspen, and it was pretty cool. In Tennessee, probably you don't have a little necklace on because they eat it. And that's just a 2.5 month, maybe 3-month-old wolf paw. I got tattoos on my leg from a hoolie. So this is worming day. They hate it. They hate the taste, and they'll fight you every way they can. So they'll sling it. If you let their head go, they'll sling it, and it goes everywhere, and they don't have any medicine in their mouth. So I asked Dr. Chevelle, make it taste good. Make it, to put something in it like you do a child. So then I tasted it, and it did taste horrible. So, it ain't gonna hurt me. I just tasted a little bit. This is a technique, it's speculum technique, I think is what it's called. If a wolf's being too bitey, they can mouth. Of course, that's what their natural thing to do. That's to greet. It's like babies do this. Wolves do this. So if they're getting too out of hand, they'll bite themselves, and they stop it. They don't like it. Or you can turn them upside down and get their mind away from what they're doing. Just change their little mind. So that we can do all kinds of tricks. Okay, that is a blood test. Now, I'm not a nurse. I don't do it. But a Dahe ate a skink, and he was deathly. He was gone, just about gone. So that's the only wolf that's ever been taken off Bays Mountain Park on purpose. So we took him right on down, and Dr. Chevelle took a blood test, and I've got his reports. He had eat a skink, and they're poisonous. So he was very, very deadly, just deathly ill. So we had to give him medicine and bring him back. And then Dr. Chevelle said, Rhonda, take another blood test. In a week I thought, I don't know how to do that. So this man Ken Childress, he taught me just about everything I know, and the ones that come before me taught me everything I know. So we worked together. So I did. We got some blood, and I took it down, and he was fine. So, but then of course, if we done a Dahe like that, who else do we have to do like that? Hold and make smell like alcohol, and the big wolves was doing this, and then the puppies were all checking a Dahe out. So we had to wrestle and put alcohol and act like we're taking blood out of every wolf so he wouldn't be picked on. So it's really pretty cool how you have to understand all this stuff before, because you're going to have a dead wolf or a hurt wolf if you don't understand wolves first. You have to understand them. This is the day they went out and explored. Tennessee was the biggest explorer. He caught fish, he buried fish, he dug fish up, all in about 2 seconds. So he likes to dig up. It's just pretty pictures. Look at their ears. Look at their ears. See, you know, when they were born, they had little bitty ears. They looked like bears. But look at their ears. And that's Tennessee. We bring swimming pools in there for them to play in, put fish in, put goldfish in, put trout. We went to Irwin for the trout, or Hampton for the trout farm, and brought back a bunch of trout and dumped them in that pool, and they'll let them catch it. Because, you know, they like to catch fish every now and then. And look at him. Look at him. It's just like, oh my God. See, his eyes are changing. They had blue. And that's that's right before we let them in. One of them is still living, and that's the one on the front right. That's Natar. That's a Dahab Jubilee. And I got a really good picture. I love that picture. We talk, we can talk wolf. Not many people can. About 4 people in here can, right? About 4? Awesome. And you remember, we wear the same clothes. Yeah, we don't stink, but we smell like wolves, which is nice. It's nice to me. But after about 2 months, and you're walking in the nature center, and you'll go. We don't smell it at all, so we have to keep the same clothes on, and we don't wash them. But if they get really bad, we can wash them in water, but we still have to keep the same clothes on because wolves don't change their fur or change. So it takes a lot of time if you change clothes, and then you change clothes today. Like, they smell of you for 30 minutes, and you waste a lot of valuable time just letting them say, who is this? I know that person, I know that, but it's not right. So we just keep everything on the same. And by the 4 months, we might smell a little bit rank to you all, but we smell good to each other. You walk up and say, so you smell like a wolf. Thank you very much. So if you smell like a wolf, you're nice. And we do bring a dog in. The first one was Sue with Cassie, because it was Cassie, and it was a collie. The wolves don't know how to act around adult wolves because they've never been around adult wolves with their eyes open. So we have to kind of get a dog that's really strict but loving to teach the puppies, you're going too far, what to do, how to act, walk up and turn your head and tuck your tail is, I'm little and you're big. So it takes a long time. See the tail position? Yeah. And she was a mother. This one was a mother of puppies herself. We would feed her, so it would make her regurgitate. She never regurgitated until she got home from her puppies, I thought. But the first one was first one was Cassie. The second one was my dog, and she did regurgitate. I'm so proud of her. Sassy regurgitated, just done everything like she was supposed to do. And then we've had, I think, 4 dogs now. So it teaches them manners, some manners. Because if that wolf aggravated this dog so much, that dog would stand up and put her tail up and kind of reprimand, so you won't love him like a wolf mom, but strict as wolf mom. So he buries one, he digs it up, 2 seconds. And they're really inquisitive. Yeah, he can catch a fish. He can catch a trout. And we give them meat as they graduate. A leg, maybe a deer leg. We cut it off. John's good at stuff like that. And then we just found this fawn. It died of a car wreck. And I thought, what better way? Because wolves eat in packs. They don't eat over here and over there. They eat in packs, and they have to learn how to share. So when these guys go in the big pack, they have to learn how to share. But the wolves let them eat, and then kind of move in after the wolf puppies get through eating. Because if you don't make sure your children eat, you don't have a pack. So we teach them how to, they teach themselves really. We give them food and let them teach themselves. So, and they didn't know what to do with it really for about 2 seconds. They'll walk around and smell like, what? Well, you know what? They did know what to do with it, and it was gone. Wolves eat everything except a few teeth that we found. But they eat fur, and they eat everything. And look how big they go. That's just 4 months old. That's, of course, Tennessee. He's, look at it's just awesome. That's the night before we turn them all in. Everybody gets to have a party and a cookout and a fire pit and loving and smooching and kissing. Tennessee, airplane ears is the smiling. That's a wolf smile. If you see your dog drop its ears, that's kind of like it's a wolf smile. They're relaxed. He's totally relaxed. So he done it really good. And this is one of the volunteers that said, "I want to see what's in that den," and he did. It was Mark. So we just like to crawl down and see what they're doing. And this was the night of the introduction. The next morning, so we let them in there and figure out what they're doing with this big pen they've never been in. I had a broken pulled thumb. I had a motorcycle wreck probably about 2 days before, and it pulled my thumb all the way back. And you're not supposed to go in there hurt, but I thought it's 2 days before the introduction. I have to do this, So I wore somebody else's shirt in the middle of August and pulled it down, and they never got everybody that's really meaningful. They knew what to do. Got Sue there, Gail, the ones that knew what to do in case something happened. And they never paid attention to me. They didn't care if I had a cast on my arm. So, my husband always gets in the pool. Ex-husband, always sorry. I'm just going to call him husband. Rick always gets in the pool and introduces, because they don't know what that big water is. They know what a pool is, but they don't know what that big water is. And they love it after they see what it is. Kawani was the alpha. She's regurgitating for the pups. That was amazing. And it's hard to get on video or a picture because we're on the outside of the pens by then. I think that was taken by Christina, because she sat there all day and documented everything that went on that day. And they're fine now. They're fine now. They're eat. And the big wolves are just like, gosh, what is these guys doing? So they're relaxing. So. And then the 3 brothers that the puppies that you've seen, Hote, Walya, and Kiva, all died in that 1 year. And this made it really hard because we were left with the same age wolves. We didn't have puppies, and we had puppies twice in 2 years. So that messed us kind of up in 3 generations. We have 2 generations. So we need 3 generations to make, it goes smoother, but we always got wolves like every 3 years, 4 years, but this one's 7 years in between. And then we had 3 brothers that died at the same time. The 2 died of just one broken back. Hote had a broken back. I had to put him down. And Walya and Hote had myopathy. It's something that happens in older wolves that don't seen in the wild. It's not seen in the wild because they don't live that long. It's not hip dysplasia. It's the nerves that go through your hips down to your legs. You lose mobility in your legs, but it don't hurt because it's nerves tingling. So we have special medicine. Chevelle did that and had it sent in from Florida, and it's used a lot of in shepherds. Shepherds get it because of their low back. So we did that for about 1.5 years, and they took medicine 3 times a day. So I think it maybe let them live about another year longer. Kiva, he's a pretty thing. And that's just a little bit older. That's in his prime. Look at that face. Look at a little bit of injuries, This is a big old fat Hote. He's just a big wolf, but he thinks he's a 2-pound puppy, always. He was alpha for a time, and he has been omega. Just that's how they age. They're just beautiful. Hote, look at that. Probably about a couple of years before he died, he's just like, okay, bud, what are you doing? While you love to howl. He's just a beautiful thing. Aging. Yeah, and you can tell, he had problems with his leg because they lose muscle tone. But he's so pretty. Ayana, she's the only one that really we had that's brindley coated. She died before Tennessee. She died at 10, and she aged gracefully too. Yeah, that was in her last year, I guess. Natar is the only one as this pack that's living. Her name means Northeast Tennessee Association of Realtors. My mama wanted to sponsor her. My mama was a realtor, and I said, well, yeah, of course you can sponsor her. And can I name her? I said, oh, I don't know. You have to pick a name, that matches. So I think Natar is a beautiful name, and it's really Nitar, but we call her Natar. And I tell people it means new home place. It's a realtor's. So my mama sponsored her, and it's amazing. My mama come up there and got to hold her and got to interact with her. That's about 2 years old, I guess. Just curled up. You ought to see her now. We'll have a picture of her now in a minute. And Tennessee, look at that man. We called him the old man because he lived till about 13 years old. He died a couple of years ago, and that's a 2-year-old Tennessee taken by Karen Travis. And I've always wanted a smoke picture, like if you were howling and the steam come out, or whiskers, and she got the whiskers. So that's he's a good boy. He's a good boy. His feet is big. That pack had the biggest feet in the world, and this is our 2014 pack. I don't know how Jay got that picture. I mean, my goodness. This is our current alpha, and the female and the current alpha male is not born yet. He's next year. So there's our little pack, and that's the day we picked him up. Me and Gail went to Minnesota to pick him up. That's Ahuli. Ahuli means drum. He's my baby. He's named after my son. And Unali, he is in a book, first book ever on Bays Mountain, written about a book. His name, the name of the book is Unali's Unexpected Adventure. He gets out of the wolf pack, the wolf habitat, and goes around and talks to all the animals and comes back and tells some stories about his excursions. Dakota, look at that little girl. They're 3 weeks old here. And Ayla is she's the one that if you go up there, she's got the whiter face, and she's kind of like a little green in her brown eyes, and she stays at the front of the fence because she's mostly Omega. And this is the second pack. This is our last pack of wolves right now, 2015. See, we still got 8. We should have been getting wolves a couple of years ago, but we had that death and so long of time. And so that's why we tried to make makeup. So now we got 8 wolves, and 7 of them are under 8 years old. So what are we going to do with more puppies? There's not enough room. I don't want to put more puppies or more wolves in a 2-acre space with 8 living wolves. So we'll have to wait, and they're going to say, Rhonda, you have to do this before you retire. I said, I can't stay till I'm 90. I have to. I'm seeing Jamie's habitat being built next, and then I don't know if something happens to 2 or 3 of our wolves, I will stay and I will do another wolf introduction or not. I don't know who's going to take over because there's nobody in line. So and this ain't he pretty? This is Bodaway, our current alpha now. So he's in his puppy mode, but he is a golden blonde. Bodaway means fire maker in Cherokee. Yona means what? Anybody? Y'all all should know what Yona means. Huh? Bear in Cherokee. A Yona. Yeah, he's pretty. He's a pretty thing. And this little Wanima, she's the smallest wolf in the pack, and she gets beat up all the time. Her name means woman chief, and that's a northwestern Washington or Oregon tribe. And she was named from our fire chief downtown. He named her. And this was, we tried to hold the ones that we held before when they were puppies. So this took about 25,000 pictures because we tried to hold them sitting down. They would have none of it. So we had to all stand up and all grab a wolf and click. So you see how big they are when they first go in. It's like a big teenager. If you don't know the difference, our current pack is what we have today. Natar is the oldest. Natar, Dakota, Ayla, Unali, Bodawe, and then Yona, Ahuli, Wanima. Ahuli is kind of he's all of them special to me. I can't have a pick. But Unali is named for my son. I lost my son just about 11 years ago. and he was a punk rocker, drummer, guitar player. He was a musician. So my daughter and me and everybody agreed that one of them should be named for Austin, because he was such a wolf enthusiast, and he helped raise the pack, and he was in with the wolves. So his name is Ahuli, and it means drum. So he was a drummer. So, but he's kind of a back. He likes to stay in the back and watch what's going on. But when me, my daughter, Gail, my husband Rick, and then some of his friends come up there, he runs to the front and say, "What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing, buddy?" He never comes to the front. It's just really odd. He follows me around and just stares at me, but he don't do that to anybody else. It's really odd. I love it though, because that's my son. How are you? I don't believe what you want. I don't know why he does that. That's only. And this is Natar now. This was last week during the snow, about a week and a half ago during the snow. She looks amazing for 15 years old, and she's gray-headed. She's, when I look at her, I see my mommy. And because, it's like, yeah, she's gorgeous. And this is our Dakota, our current alpha female that's in love with Yona, not Bodaway. But, we have this plating place going on. We had pictures the other day. Somebody told me Ayla was laying around with who? Bodaway? And she was with Yona. That's not how it's supposed to be, but they don't read books. They don't go by the guidelines. They do what they want to do, and then cause fusses. That's this beautiful Unali. He got that eye injury. Wolves do this to reprimand each other, and by this time, Yona usually looks like hamburger in the face. But it's kind of 2 or 3 weeks later, because these wolves like to go in season in January. I thought, I was down here one time when the pups was 8 months old, hoping to get home and be before February, and I think it was the last year. We had wintertime and then springtime and then back winter. So they called me, said, Rhonda, Tennessee and Dakota are tied. That means hooked up. And I thought, no, you probably mistakenly, it's really Natar, and they're breeding. And they said, no. I said, they're both black, and I don't know if you know the wolves exactly or not. Oh no, it was Dakota at 8 months old in season. And I said, Natar will kill her, because that's what happens in the wild. And Natar probably says, thank God. No more. So she just wasn't alpha anymore, and Dakota's been alpha since she was a young girl, like Nagati did. I was just like, I see my in, and I'm taking it, and she's alpha. But she's pretty good alpha. She's pretty good. She's rough, but she's pretty good. So that's what happens when I go away. This is beautiful Ayla. She has a little bit of green in her eyes. All of these wolves were named. Ayla was from Elaine, me and a friend took a quest to sprinkle our son's ashes. We're best friends, and our sons was friends, and they both passed 6 months apart. So we took a quest to here, to all the way to the Pacific, and all the way back, and we distribute ashes everywhere. So we went up in Bunyan Canyon in Sedona, and way up, and we went all the way up, and I went this way to sprinkle his ashes, and she went that way and come back with a piece of paper. And that piece of paper had Elaine or Ayla on it, so she named her, because she said, that's for Alan. So that's how wolves get named, from your heart. This is a Huli. You can tell a Huli because he's the whitest wolf with the blackest back. So they look a lot alike, but of course I can tell the difference, but sometimes I can't. So, but that's a Huli. He has piercing eyes. He has eyes the same color as Dakota. Dakota is his brother. Brother and sister is the brother and sister from the same mommy daddy. And this is Bodaway. He has the yellowish fur. He has the golden blonde. He's the blonde, but he's, gold. He's beautiful. And this is Wanema. She has little battle scars on her face. She's a little spunky thing. She had an injury like, 2 weeks ago. Just wolves get injuries all the time, and it's really decisive. Do I give them antibiotics or not? Do I give them pain medicine or not? Because if you if y'all are like a pack of wolves, and I say, well, you're hurt, I need to give you something. Y'all don't like that. Y'all want it. All of you want it. So it causes strife. If I give you, it's hard to give you a pill without giving everybody a pill. So sometimes everybody gets fake pills and give you a pill. So you can take them out. Yeah. It's very hard. Yeah. And these wolves don't like, they don't like heart guard. Oh my God. Me and John every month. They just don't take it like
Constantly
this.
changing too, because we can't do the
All
same
the
thing
wolves
twice in a row.
before us, before these guys, you just took heart guard and they fought over it. And they took heart. You just have to be good at aiming because they open their mouth and they swallow it whole. These wolves will go, and you have to give them heart guard. So, kind of, I made some muffins, and then in the icing, you can't put heart guard in the oven because it zeros. Yeah, but get some icing that they like, not chocolate. Get lemon or raspberry or whatever, and grind them up with a mortar pestle or a grinder or a chopper, and put it in the icing, and they'll eat that. And then they got tired of that. So now we're
They
doing.
don't even trust peanut butter at all anymore.
They don't trust peanut butter because peanut butter or bacon anymore. They don't trust it because Rhonda's give me a mini pills in peanut butter wrapped bacon.
The most recent was filet mignon.
Yeah,
Stuffed.
now we use people donate us meat and we grind up the medicine because they still want, if they see the peel or feel it, they spit it out. So we have to grind it up, put peanut butter or is something good in it that they can't spit it out. They, it sticks to their mouth. So, and then last time we used filet mignon because they won't spit that out. And Nebraska brand they'll spit out because they've had it so much they said. So we try everything. So yeah, we try everything. So we have to keep them healthy. We have to keep them healthy. And they are healthy. Beautiful Yona. That's Yona. His face is usually all tore to pieces by now. You saw his face last winter. But, it's just like, that's how wolves reprimand each other. Okay, good. Is it good?
Jump position.
Huh?
Talk about jump position.
Oh, yeah, because, Yona's not alpha. But when Bodalway's over there somewhere, he's like, But he's like second command, so he's beta. He's high beta. So if something probably happened to Bodalway, this dude would go right into the alpha position because he is like a vice principal and Bodalway's a principal. So they do have to, because if you have a wolf pack running in Montana or something, usually the leaders are up front and they have the danger here. And if you shoot the leaders, you send the pack in complete chaos. And then that's when you have chaotic stuff going on. They go get you chickens, they go get you sheep. But usually wolves don't do that. They hunt wild creatures. But you know what? If you mess up their pack, they have to eat something. So he would be the leader that would go in and try to take over. This is a beautiful picture. It's just like this is what we see every day. This is what I see every day, and I'm so thankful. I'm so, I love my job. This is just beautiful. That's mostly how they lay all the time. That's alpha pair and Yona. And Jonas, they're best buds. They're just best buds, like Niavi and Kanati. They're best buds. Just like they'll fight, but they're just like brothers. They love each other, but sometimes they don't, because they love the snow. They don't like to lay in the dens. Maybe that's going in there if they want to run them from another wolf. But wolves like to lay out and up, and they don't like to. The only time this den uses is mom. When mom's having babies, she digs a den beforehand. Near water, near everything, because she knows what to do. So then that's the only time wolves den up is the mom and the babies. The other wolves are sentries, or they want to see everything is going on. Not like a cat. A cat will go in a basket, 5 of them. And then one time with Walter Cook, the head of the state, when they escaped, wanted me to build a small area, a cage, where I could put them all in if something happened. I said, that's not going to happen. They don't like that. I don't care what you do. They will not go where you want them to go, especially in a 10 foot by 10 foot or whatever. And he wanted it anyway. So we had to go to the different zoos, and he sent us to a cat sanctuary. I said, cats are not dogs. Cats will go in anywhere. So I finally had it. I said, Walter, this is not going to happen. He said, okay. So I did come down with one of the big pens, number 3 pen. It's this, it's not the smallest pen, but he let me circle that one pen with telephone poles. That's hard to do. Anyway, you can't get all the wolves in a 50-acre field if you want them to. So when impending storms or huge bad storms are available, you're supposed to put them in pen 3 without them fighting. Sure. They won't even go. They won't even go for filet mignon half the time, because wolves do what wolves want to do, and they know before you know what they're doing. You can't trick a wolf. I've thought a few times I could, but that's not happening, because they're smarter than me, and they are way ahead of me before I even think to go around their back and kind of but no, that they're smarter than I am, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they ain't going to do what you say to do. They're not going to do what the Tennessee State Wildlife says they're going to do. We have to see the wolves, understand wolf behavior, and then do that. Do what we want to do with their ideas, because they have ideas. You can't win. So thanks for all the pictures. I don't take pictures. I'm just hey John, hey Jay, hey Karen, whoever. I've used a few from, and I've got about 5 wolf programs. And I've got some of early wolves. I've got another program. I've probably got 5 or 6 wolf programs. So I do the big one here, and I do the other ones at other places. And I've got some of the pictures of old when they introduced the pack a long time ago, of kids and Sue and her 2 kids. Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes you use teenager or 12 and up, because the biggest piece of people in the park are who? A lot of kids, a lot of screamy, middle school young kids. So they have to say, well, that's nothing. So we have to raise them with that, because they're not afraid of kids. They're not afraid of men or women. So we use every people. We use men, women, children. Kagan first come, my grandson first come when he was 2.5 years old. He come in there and introduced. They didn't do anything to him except come up and love on him. But he knew to sit down and stay seated and not run around, because we don't do that. So he knew exactly how to act when he was 2.5. So he was one of the really intricate people. If you've got a wolf coming up to you, this is amazing. Never seen it happen before. I don't know, maybe Sue has. If a wolf has something in its mouth and walks up to you and lays it down at your feet, wow, that's your ultimate friend. He's saying, you're mine.
Share.
And it does. Wolves don't share very often, but when they do, you're my friend. And I've got pictures of that, thank goodness. I've got pictures of Ude only bringing up a bone, laying it at Kagan's feet and saying, friend. And then it's amazing. But he was a really good, because he was taught by me, because he's strict. Some of the volunteers, they're not, they'll sneak in something that's not supposed to be done. We don't go in and go, come on over here. We don't do that. Mothers don't do that. We come in, we sit down and act like a stump, not a tree. And you can't grab a wolf, it's going by, you can't reach out and pet it, or you're going to have no fingers. I mean, what if you go in with Natara right now and I reached out and touched her? She ain't gonna like that. They have their own space. So if they come up to you and waller all over you, you can waller all over them. But then when they want to leave, they leave. Like if I was walking around the pen and Sue, Niahi or something, walked up to Sue and go, belly up. It's an invitation for her. It's not an invitation to me walking up and scrapping his belly. That's how Dave Taylor got it. He's running around here somewhere, Dave Taylor. So it's a lot of rules, but it's so fun. So, anybody go ahead, questions?
How do you get these animals to the vet?
Well, the vet comes there.
He makes obstacles.
Always.
From where?
Right now our vet is in Jonesboro or Telford, but Chevelle was our vet before until 2016, and then we had to have another vet because he retired. And I thought, you can't not retire, because he understood our need to do what we needed to do Gail had to, we needed to do, we knew how to tranquilize them, we knew how the medicine, so he guided us. And but now it's not like that. You have to say, do this, do that, I need this medicine. Oh, you can't have that medicine, it's controlled by the USD, the Drug Enforcement Agency. I said, I need this. Well, you can't have it. I said, well, I do. So I just called the Drug Enforcement Agency and got permission to get it. I mean, I don't, what am I going to do with ketamine? I'm not going to take ketamine, but I need it to tranquilize a wolf and put him to slumber until the vet gets there because he won't hurt himself. I do that all the time. So it's really harder nowadays to get controlled substances. I got a safe and I got, all that stuff, but yeah, you have to do all that stuff, but you don't wait on the vet because sometimes the vet guides you, and sometimes the vet does stitches. They have no idea how to doctor a wolf. They don't doctor wolves. Possums, what? And Dr. Chevelle said, so well, I'm going to go ahead and give your possum a tube of ligation because I wanted it, because it was for the health of the possum. He had no idea. Well, possums have 2 wounds. Didelpha, they have 2. So, yeah, so he said, I don't know. He said, but I'll do it. He said, I'll have somebody from the North American Possum Association talking me through it, and he'll do all that. So he was very good at doing anything. All the other vets, one time I had to tranquilize Kawoni, I think, one of them, and Dr. Chevelle was out of town, and I had to call the number 2. And he said, you're going to kill that wolf with your concoction. I said, well, if I use your concoction, I'm going to end up with a mad wolf, not an out wolf. I'm going to make him just peed off, mad. And you're going to get bit. I'm going to get bit. So Kenny was really good about these concoctions and figuring it out. Now I'm good about that now. But, I didn't know. So we had a dose and then a half a dose. So you give them a half a dose on top of the regular dose, and it works for wolves. Wolves are not dogs. Dogs come from wolves. So they're different in their physiology and their all this stuff. So he said, well, I ain't responsible. You're going to kill it. I said, well, let me be responsible, and because we're going to get hurt otherwise. So it worked perfectly. It just worked because Kenny was so smart, and he taught us the beginnings, and then he's retired. And then I called him, and he says, well, Rhonda, you know more about wolves than I do. I said, no, I don't. But he's the level head. He's the level head of the people. I'm not level head. I'm just all over the place. But I love the wolves, and I love my job, and I think everybody knows it and can tell it. So, anybody have any more questions?
Are they sterilized?
Well, they're not sterilized. They're not fixed. They're not spayed or neutered.
So you.
Well, they have vasectomies.
Okay.
The boys, the girls are totally intact. So we have natural behaviors going on and fights and stuff like that. So if we had that, we just have a bunch of lazy zoo dogs, because they might lose their, drive for alphaship. Sometimes I would pray for that. Like last year was the worst year I have ever seen. You seen those wolves last year? They were tore all to pieces, and they couldn't even walk or sit down because they were so into fighting each other. Ayla and Dakota, I thought Dakota was blind, just couldn't see her eyes. I mean, it was horrible last year, and it was in January, and it was the worst fighting I've ever seen. And I said, I didn't know what to do. You couldn't give them pain medicine because they would be relaxed and fight more. So we just give them antibiotics. We went through like 7 bottles of antibiotics. We just kept them on it. So it was horrible. That goes on for 3 solid weeks. And everybody says, Rhonda, I want you to separate them. I said, well, that's worse. You separate 2 females or 2 wolves, and when they come back together, they don't like each other anymore. They hate each other worse than they did before. So hormones drove them to that. But when you get them out of hormones and let them go back to their natural self, it's a different kind of attitude. It's not the hormones driving them. It's, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Where have you been? So you have to think like a wolf, and it's hard to do because everybody says, my God, I don't know why you don't do this. And we get phone calls. I don't know, these wolves are fighting. Won't you just take one out? No, I can't. I cannot do that. The only reason the tar is by herself is because she's 15 and has arthritis in her spine and had a torn ACL. She can't handle, a regular 13-year-old wolf probably could handle Dakota and Ayla's aggravation, but she's got arthritis in her spine. I don't want to be responsible for her broke back. And she did really good about going into transition by herself because she had a torn ACL. She couldn't walk. So we moved her, and we moved Tanasi with her, and then Tanasi died. So I said, well, Lord have mercy. What am I going to do? Put another boy with her? Not a girl. I tried that, and I thought I was smarter than the wolf. I proved right now you feel like an idiot because you think, Rhonda, you know better. But I didn't want her to be lonely, because that's the rules. It's kind of the rules, but all rules can be broken. But it's because she does really go by herself. Yona about killed her in 1 second. Had her by the nape of the neck. That's why they have such thick hair. And was going to kill her, and it was just like horrible right before your eyes. So finally, all this commotion and stomping and running around and throwing things, he'll get their focus away, his focus away. It made them break up, and he ran. So I said, never again. So she just lives by herself, and she's happy. We go in there, she's got a family, and she can see the family.
So no pups are born because they're vasectomized. Do females come cycle again, or is it just once a year?
Once a year.
Just once? Oh, good. Okay, so you don't
Yeah.
have to go through all
No,
that.
no,
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
February. Well, these wolves are a little bit earlier, just like they don't read books. They don't know they're supposed to go in season in February. Well, Dakota will start.
Is enough.
Yes, once every 2 years. But see, I even called the vet and went on Google and all this stuff and said, well, what if there's medicine to suppress the heat. What if I do that?